Lighthouse Dental is a dental clinic that we have been working with for a couple of years now. They have their clinic on St. Clair Avenue. They wanted to open a new clinic in Toronto on Yonge and Eglinton. They came to us and they said, we're looking into this. We're going to provide you with floor plans as soon as we have it. We had a couple of meetings with them, and they explained to us the requirements, whether they want to go with exactly the same setup or they would like to introduce new technologies, and we went through that whole requirements with them.
So our vision for our office was to have a very clean look. We had an office previously and we wanted to sort of emulate some of the design elements of it. So the biggest design difference, I guess, is this one's a bit more masculine. It's got some darker colors here and there, but overall we wanted it to be slick, cool, nice and comfortable, and have all the technology that sort of brings it all together and it makes it familiar to our other office.
Once they had the floor plans, they came to us and they said, okay, what do we need to do now? We had a couple of meetings. This was during the pandemic, so a couple of those meetings were online, but then we did follow up with a site visit to understand the space, where everything is going to be, and then they shared the drawings with us. Our role as a consultant is very important to be involved with the design of the clinic from the beginning, because we need to understand where everything is going to be. We need to understand what their technology requirement is, what kind of server do they want. Do they need a local server, or are they going to go with a hosted clinic? How is the layout? Are we going to go with wireless or wired? What kind of x-ray machines do they have? Do they have any sanitary stations? All this had to be taken into consideration with the technology design. So we worked with them on identifying everything from purchasing of their new Apple computers. We worked with them and with the Apple Store to make sure that we have exactly the right model of Mac that will work with their current dental software.
Most dental offices in Toronto, I would say, don't use Apple products. And so it does require us to kind of find the right programs and things like that to make it work pretty well. Having said that, we've had it in our previous office before, and a lot of our staff have been pretty well trained on it. And we're also Apple users at home, so it's been a pretty easy transition that way. We like the interface. Everything seems very clean. And aesthetically, especially the new M1 iMacs look fantastic, and they really add to the design as well of the office.
They use a product called Mac Practice, which is a specifically Apple designed dental practice management. So we need to make sure that the Macs that they're buying is compatible with the version that they would like to use. They also use a couple of iPads for patient intakes. That was very important to integrate all of this into one solution. There was a little bit more of in-depth analysis into what kind of x-ray machines are they going to be using. Are they using a panorama x-ray or just a standard x-ray? All this had to be taken into consideration in the design of how the network is going to be and what is the speeds. We got involved with them in even finding out what is the best internet service provider that's going to be required, especially that we had to link both clinics together so that they can access both of their patient files from either location. That was also very important.
So we've been with Alary for a couple of years now. We've had a pretty good working relationship throughout. Prior to working with them, we had another company, but when we were having some challenges, we reached out to Apple directly and they recommended Alary.
So what we did is we worked with them to put a general IT infrastructure down to every single detail. The Mac configuration, the switch configuration, even the camera surveillance system, their VoIP phone system was also included in that. the design of how many plugs do they need in reception, and what kind of printers do they need. Are they going to be more paper heavy, or are they going to be more online and virtual, and everything, even the forms, can be done on an iPad, and there's not a lot of paper involved. Once we got into that, we have now a full idea about where everything needs to go. We then moved into the design of the physical network of it.
In terms of the design, we started off with sort of a design blueprint with architects and engineers and so on. And Alary, we then showed those designs to Alary, and they basically took on board a lot of the things that we needed, and also provided suggestions for how we can improve and make it more a robust and more streamlined experience.
As I can show you, that we got the floor plans, and we wanted to focus on how the op rooms look. This is the floor plan of the clinic. This was provided to us before they started construction, and it shows where the reception is, it shows where the op rooms, shows where the sterilization station is, the pano x-ray, all that. What we do is we sit with them and we analyze, and we say, okay, what kind of computers are we going to be putting? Is it going to sit on an arm, or is it going to be on the desk? We later on overlay that with where our network should be. Everything, including the wireless design, the location of the wireless access points. We then identified that if this is an op room, we need 3 internet drops. One of them is in the chair itself for a monitor or a TV station, and we have the X-ray station, and we also have the computer networking. We then move to, for example, the reception area here, where we have waiting area, and what kind of surveillance system do we need to get to cover it, and how many drops do we need. Do we have the credit card machines? All of this happens in discussion with the client and in discussion with our teams to make sure we have everything covered. One of the important things is also going over even the furniture. So if you can see here the millwork, we had to work with them to identify what is the height of the cabinets, how is the Mac going to be installed, and whether it's going to move on a track or it's just going to be mounted on a wall to leave some clearance for the keyboard. That is the design phase that we worked with them on. And it was very important to involve not only our technical staff and our network administrators, but the client, but also manufacturers of some equipment. We got involved with the X-ray manufacturers to see what kind of network requirements do they need. We got even the arms for the Macs to be mounted on the wall. They were custom designed arms that they match their need and the range of motion that was needed for the clinic, the location of it. All of that was taken into consideration from the very beginning, as into what do they need this to look like and how should it function.
So they were really great, very good at communicating and very quick at replying with questions and concerns we may have had. We had certain design constraints, and of course with a lot of things that were lacking or supply chain issues, especially during COVID, we were able to sort of modify and change things as needed. And yeah, they were very flexible, so it was very good and easy to communicate with them.
Other aspects of the design was the wireless access points. What is going to go on the wireless? Do they need iPads? Is wireless even needed, or is it just for guests? What we did with the clinic is we linked both locations together. This was done over a site-to-site VPN connected using their internet service providers. It's an always-on VPN. Any employee or any admin staff worker or even the dentist from one location, they can look up the patients of the other location, they can look up their x-rays, and vice versa.
So we have plans of essentially having more connection between our offices to make it more streamlined as if we are an extension of our first office. That would be sort of the end goal. So eventually our VPN and so on is going to allow us hopefully to seamlessly book. Someone can contact one office, oh, you know what, we don't have an appointment available here, maybe you can see one of our sister clinics, and then they should be able to sort of route it here that way.
Without fully understanding how the clinic operates, their workflow, their needs, and one of the things that we discovered is that every clinic, every environment is unique in a way. Every dentist works in a very different way than others. Some people like to prepare things at home and get a full plan of what they're going to need to do the next day. Some doctors need to look at it in the clinic because they want to have access to all the other equipment. It is different. The workflow, the faxes, how they answer the phones. Are they going to be able to distribute the calls onto different clinics if they have that? Can they have one person that answers the phones for both clinics? Will they want to know the caller if he's calling for one clinic or the other? All of this is very important, and we make sure we take the time before construction even starts to have all that planned, laid out, explained, for my staff even rehearsed as into what are the things that we're going to do when this is all ready. And when the execution time comes, we take all our stuff, we take the equipment, we put it in, and you can see that this is something that we really enjoy doing, because it's nice to see something that comes along from nothing. If I can show you some of those photos of what the place looks like. So this is during the construction phase, and during that we looked at, this is where the network cabinet is going to go, and then we had to make sure that we have all the wiring through the walls, all Cat 6, in some cases Cat 7 if it's needed. This is the network cabinet. Once we installed it, we were testing the access points, and we were in this picture, we were looking for where the feed came into the building, because it was very important to find whether it's Bell or Rogers that's coming in.
Anyone that is interested in considering Mac or users of Mac currently, I think would really benefit from Alary services. They've been very helpful for us.
We're now managing both of their clinics, the Eglinton one and the St. Clair one that we had in the past. And we're managing the connection, we're managing the secure connection, we are helping them with their everyday IT needs. And I couldn't be happier and prouder of my team for the execution of this project. And we hope that the Byte House team will open up a few other clinics that we will help them with. We really enjoyed working with the staff at Byte House Clinic, and it's a pleasure to work with them every day. And we're hopeful that they're going to have more success with that clinic and more clinics to come.